Hi there and welcome to my 9th tutorial on Java, and in this tutorial I'm going to talk about nested statements. A nested statement is something that we call when we use two different types or the same types of statements together to create one type of statement or one definition of such action. For example, if we use loops, we use for example for loop, then inside we can nest a if statement or a case statement or another loop just to make some kind of more advanced conditions or to print different actions under certain condition. So for example, if we add if statement, we can say if for example number of the counter in this loop is for example more than 5, we will print something else, and again if it's less, then we will print something else again. So we can vary the output or whatever we want to calculate or something like this, check, with those nested statements. Now, it's not limited to loops, of course. We can nest statements within statements. So we can use ifs with loops and cases with loops and stuff like this. So it's not limited to just those two or three. So many combinations are there. So I will just show you a couple of those combinations, not to show you every possible way you can achieve this. I'll work with loops and if statements. I don't use cases mostly. If statement is the same thing, and I mostly use if statements. So for loop, for example, on the basis. So I will have integer equals 0, let's say, then I is less than 10 times I plus plus. Okay, so this is my for loop. This is normal for loop, you already know this. Now, inside this for loop, I can declare variables and stuff like this. And I can have a if statement. I can have a case statement. So for example, if I say if I is less than, for example, 5, then I have some kind of action. System.out.print line, let's say, and print the number is less than 5. I'll correct that system. Okay, so this is if statement. Now I have a statement inside my for loop. This is how you create the nested statements. So I have now condition. So if this condition is satisfied, this will be printed. Otherwise, loop will just simply repeat itself, check the condition again and again until the loop's finished. I can state another condition, for example, if I is more than 5, then system out something else. I'll just copy this one and change the message. Is more than. So it's more than 5. And if I run this, you'll see something like this. So first couple of them is less than, those are less than, and you have 4 of them are more than, because we have from 0 to 9 basically. It's not 10, it's less than 10. Still prints out 10 times, and nevertheless indexes start from 0, 10. So yeah, that's how it works, simply with the if statement and for loops and stuff like this. So even if I change it to while loop, this still will work simply, because it's a nested statement. We can add else as well. So we can have else statements, we can have else if. We can also double nest the statement. So this is the nested, let's call it to the power of 2, let's say. And I can do a nested statement which is to the power of 3 or 4 and so on. I can make basically unlimited nested statements. So for example, I can write another if here, I is equal 5. So as you can see, this if is nested inside the for loop, but this if is inside this and this. And also I can put another if or for loop even inside this one and make it even more complicated and so on. I can build it up as long as I want it. So as you can see, this may become a very complex program if you have many conditions and stuff like this. So this is pretty useful actually, because you use loops in your programs probably, when it comes to arrays, when you want to print out the array will come in next tutorial probably, but when you want to print out the array, you have to actually use a loop. You will not use a printout statement for each element of the array. This is not useful at all. So you will use loops, and basically that's how you can nest the statements. So this is with the if. Now if you have if, for example, this is your if statement, you want to have a while inside, so you can just while it and say, for example, I don't know, I don't have any variable, but just to show you, let's say 5 is less than 3. Just to show you, I will not run this actually. And something's wrong because the condition. Let me just check it with the variables. Int number. Yeah, you cannot use hard values actually. And so you have to use variable. I just found out. Nevertheless, so I have now in my if, I have while. So if this is true, then while will be executed as well. So as I said, you can build it up even more. I can add more if statements and such, and add to my statements. Well, there's no need to for now. And nevertheless, this is how you create your nested statements. You can, as you can see, you can build up your statements. Each layer is like a new, let's say, power 2. You can call it like this. You have powers. You have number to the power of 2, 3, and 4. This works on a pretty similar basis as this one is first layer, you can say, and this one is second layer. This is nested statement. This is, well, the third layer, which is nested in 2 of those, and this one is nested in 3 of those. So this one is, and it gets complicated if you have more of them, of course. So yeah, that's pretty useful if you want to use loops and if statements in one combined statement. So that's how you use it. So this is one way. You can also use a do while and while loops. There's no limitation. The case statements as well, and such stuff like this. So just play around with this code and just have it around you and play around. Just for you, I will just create. Just for you, I will create another condition, and let's say if I don't know. So play around with this and just practice, and it will get to your head, and pretty straightforward. You already know do loops and do while, and you already know the if statements, you already know the case statements. You just have to combine them, and that's pretty much it about this tutorial. So the tutorial will end here. The next tutorial will be probably about arrays. I think it should be arrays, and I will talk about arrays in my next tutorial. Furthermore, visit my webpage and YouTube channel for more tutorials. If you like my videos, subscribe on the channel on my videos, and as always, I will see you in my next tutorial, and bye.